What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin, XCN USD. It's the 25th day of January, and here we are sitting at about $0.00671 with roughly 9 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it, okay? Had a nice little pump, pulled back. We're now finding support at prior resistance. This reminds me of something, right? I mean, just bear with me. Bear with me here, okay? Massive long-term dump. Massive long-term dump. You found a couple points of support here, or resistance here, and then after your massive dump, you pump. You have a massive breakout. Back test those points of resistance for support. I would assume we move up. It sounds familiar, and I'm getting it from something. I swear I'm not stealing it from anywhere. We've just seen it before, because it's not the exact same, but massive downturn. We had multiple points of resistance. And then we pulled back and we found support at those multiple points of resistance. We had a nice move up. Is it me? Or does it seem like this whole thing, this whole process, almost like this whole segment right here is a giant fractal of this whole segment right here, of this whole entire process here? It's almost like the same thing. I don't know. Similar behavior. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see. It's in human beings' nature to identify patterns, but even if they don't exist. But finding support, regardless of what I'm seeing or wanting to see, finding support at prior areas of resistance is a really good thing. It really is a really good thing. Now, we found support. We had immaculate support. We had some volume come in, and now we've been bleeding off over the past few days. It's the weekend. It's Saturday. It's Sunday today. So, the past couple of days moving down without much volume, I'm not intimidated by that. But again, we have talked about this idea that from a low to a high, if you bounce off the golden ratio and return, that statistically speaking, you have a higher probability of going back down to the 786, 886. And that even with that being true, yesterday I made the call that we probably do come back down here, and we probably still bounce. And I even said, I was like, I think that goes against the statistical probabilities of fibs, but to me it just doesn't make sense that we'd push all the way down here. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because it's my biggest, or OnyxCoin is one of my biggest bags. I have bias toward it. I don't want to see it go down there, so I'm just going to make a call that justifies my beliefs. No, that's not why. The reason why I don't think that it makes sense is because we're moving down with such desolate levels of volume. The only time that we see any kind of volume that matters, right, with this big green here, is when we're buying, is when we're pumping, right? There's no volume on the selling pressure. The reason why there's no selling pressure is because they already sold, whoever they are. Do you think the big dogs, the big money, that they bought the top and now they're panic selling the low? No. If they were dumb enough to buy the top, first off, they're probably not dumb enough to buy the top, but let's pretend big money got in at the top. They're not going to be dumb enough to panic sell the low. They're going to buy the low. There's no selling pressure here. And I think the chart's deceitful because of that. There's no selling pressure, so they want people to panic. They want people to sell. That way, the big dogs can acquire more so that whenever it comes up, they have more, right? It doesn't make sense to me that we would push down to the 786, 886 like the fib would generally call for in this situation, because that just seems too extreme. What, we're going to drop in this very low volume, low selling pressure environment? We're going to drop another 20 to 30%? I don't think so. That doesn't make sense to me. Just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean that it can't happen. Low liquidity, low volume environment. We're in a low market cap coin. It can happen. It can happen. But it's not my call. My call is we hold this area of support. At worst, I'm thinking we probably go just below that low, and then we find support and move up higher. But I don't think that we go too much below this. I think we hold these prior resistance levels as support and we prevail to the upside, right? Again, going off of this idea that we did that exact same thing here. We literally did that exact same thing here, where we held prior areas of resistance for support, and we broke out, we moved higher, right? We also found support here at the golden ratio, just so it's clear, from a low to a high. That was a golden ratio bounce. By the way, we hit the golden ratio, we rejected the 0.5, we came back to the golden ratio. Statistically speaking, your odds of going down here have increased whenever we were here, right? It's a very astonishingly similar situation that we have here. Finding support here. We had our bounce. We went back to the 0.5 for resistance. We went even a little bit through it. Now we're coming back. It's astonishingly similar. I wonder if it'll have the same results. By the way, fractals, my friends, are dangerous, okay? Just because you see the price form a pennant pattern here, or maybe it's a pennant and it does like some weird stuff like this, and then it dumps on you, doesn't mean that the next time that you see a pennant and then it does some weird stuff that it's going to dump on you. In fact, fractals, in my opinion, the first time it'll do this, the second time's a setup. It charges people to think that it goes down, and really you'll go up. You'll do the opposite effect. So I'm saying that, I guess I'm saying that as just like a point of reference. We're talking about fractals here, and I think it'll work out for us this time. I don't know if this is a fractal or not. It kind of is. It kind of looks like one. But I think that we will prevail to the upside. But don't think that fractals are that easy, that simple, right? I'm not using this idea that it looks just like, to me it looks just like this. I'm not using that as my form of analysis. I'm doing everything else, and then we're noticing that on the side and saying, oh, isn't that kind of funny? It's kind of interesting. 1 hour time frame, looking at this here, again, just you can see how abysmal the levels of volume are. And when the volume comes in, look at where, in these very desolate levels of volume, look at where the volume comes in. At the low, right? If there was a lot of volume at the high, I would think there's a lot of selling pressure. If there's a lot of volume at the low, I think there's a lot of buying pressure, right? There's not a lot of volume at these lows. These are very small levels of volume, but for how desolate it is, the only spikes in volume you get are either pumps or at the lows, right? There are no gaps to the downside. We filled all of our gaps. There are gaps to the upside, I think. I guess not. Not relatively speaking. I know there is a gap way back, going like way, I want to say like August or September. There's a gap at like 2 cents, 2.8 cents or 2.4 cents, something like that. And so we'll probably have to go up and fill that gap too. But there's no gaps here to fill to the downside, at least not that I see. 1 hour time frame, looking at the RSI. The RSI is a little bit bearish. But we're holding the oversold zone as support. We are really rejecting that oversold zone. It's like you want to be bearish, or it's like the RSI is bearish, but you're just refusing to be bearish. I don't know. You've got the lower lows, the lower highs. You had it here. Why you're grinding it out here? Why aren't you getting oversold? It's because there's no selling pressure. There's not enough to give you actually strong selling readings, because there's no strong selling hands. There's only buying pressure right now. We could go lower, but again, if we were moving up like this and volume was slowly dying off, I'd be waiting for a crash. Not like a slow bleed of a crash, like a crash. The fact that we're moving down steady like this and volume's dying off, I'm expecting an irrational pump. And it might actually be completely rational, completely called for. We look at the stochastics. The stochastics have a little bit of bullish divergence. The MACD has some very nice bullish divergence, actually. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we found support here and we moved up, you guys. If we go lower than this, mark my words, our low right now is at 0.063. If we go lower than that, cool. If we go lower than this, even a little bit is cool. But I doubt that we have too much lower to go, if at all. It's completely possible and acceptable that this is the low and that we move up from here. I do want to see real quick, low to high. I mean, to me, just based off the fibs, solely the fibs alone, to me it would make sense that we go a little bit lower, at least to 0.0656, at most maybe to 0.0558. But can we go to 0.0558? Would that be detrimental to the cause? Let's see. Low to high. So we probably don't go to 0.0558. The lowest I would guess would be 0.058, not 558. 0.058. But I would expect that we hold support somewhere between here, where we are now, and 0.0638 personally. I don't think that we go too much lower than those levels there. We should be moving up higher. And again, when we do move higher, when we do break out, the expectation is that we will go somewhere either just below 2 cents or just above 2 cents, but like up in this area. We'll see a continuation of this move. I don't know if it's a bull flag. Maybe it's a bull flag, maybe it's not. But if it performs like a bull flag, how would we perform from a low to a high? At first, it seemed like a bull flag. It certainly did. If it is a bull flag, the measure move would take us to about 2 cents. Measure moves are ideas. They're not requirements. You can fall short of that idea. You can exceed that idea, but this idea suggests a 2 cent price target, which there's a lot of significance around 2 cents, psychologically speaking, and then just on the charts through various forms of prior resistance and Fibonacci levels even. I wonder, what about this extension here if we take a high to a low? 2 cents right at the golden ratio. I mean, it's perfect. It's literally perfect. Look, isn't that perfect? Golden ratio for resistance at 2 cents, which is also the measure move of your alleged bull flag. And then on top of that, you just found support, right? You just found support right at your golden ratio. Right, so you found support at your golden ratio. The bull flag measure move would take you to 2 cents, which is also your golden ratio. It's kind of serendipitous. I love Fibonacci's, man. They're great. 4-hour time frame. Looking at this, the RSI to me looks bullish here. I mean, well, it's bearish overall. Actually, I'm really disappointed in this. I thought we would have gotten immediate continuation. This is, again, guys, not a statistical probability. This is like standalone. Normally, you get further iterations, you know, like, and then you deplete yourself. That's weird. That's sad, is what that is. It's really disappointing. I thought that we'd get immediate continuation, at least an attempt higher, and then if we reject, whatever. But we didn't even get that. Anyways, the RSI does look sad right now, but where we are, we actually typically do like to find support right around this area. So this is really a good area to find support. We can move lower. Again, it's okay if we do. Stochastics are bearish at the moment, and the MACD is bearish at the moment, but there's good things going on. We're reset on all these indicators, and I think we're ready to move up at any moment. We're just waiting for the shoe to drop, right? The other shoe to drop and take us higher. Daily time frame, the RSI here is very bullish, very positive overall, right? Very positive structure, higher lows, getting overbought, not getting oversold, not getting oversold, rejecting the oversold zone. We're in a very positive structure here. I'd like us to get above the 50 sooner than later, though. I don't want to see us get a lower low. Not that we can't get a lower low. We've seen it before and still prevailed, but I'd rather us not get a lower low. Stochastics look bearish. The MACD's building bearish momentum as of today, but you're also right here at the 0, which is a perfect area for you to bounce off of with your oscillators. So there's definitely signals that we are ready to bounce on the 4-hour and on the daily time frame. I have no problem calling for this to be the low, but again, should we go a little bit below there, I think we'll be okay. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I do believe we'll be moving up higher in a matter of no time at all. It is the 25th today. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say this. It could be the 31st of January. It could be the 30th, and we're up at 2 cents. It could be the first week of February, and we're up at 2 cents. So sometime soon, and maybe it's a little bit later than that, but sometime very soon, we're going to be making this move. And when we make this move, it's going to be a swift move. There's very little in the way of taking us higher. Okay, we're probably, when that happens, I mean, we typically go higher. 1.9 to 2.3 cents, somewhere in there. 1.9 cents to 2.3 cents, that's the golden ratio. That's where we found prior resistance points here. It just makes a lot of sense that that's where we go. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.